Let me take a quick break real quick and just call it you listen to a Cox in Space podcast. This is Flicking with Skip, where we work on the animation for Cox in Space. Here with co-host Curtis Wolf, and we're talking about the Terrifier series. If you want to catch up with us, you absolutely can do that. You can go to coxinspace.com. That's coxinspace.com. When you're there, you can get a link to the Discord and come hang out with us 7 nights a week. See what's going on with Cox in Space and talk about all the fun stuff that we talk about up here. You can also vote this month on your favorite show that's coming out in August. We're going to pick our favorite for August. And you get to hang out with us in the green room before the podcast starts, and then afterwards when we hang out with the guests after. So you get to do all those things if you're joining us in the Discord. Also, if you're on YouTube, you can like, comment, share, of course. Thank you so much. We do watch that and we do comment with you guys. And you can also get connected with our Patreon. We'll cover that at the end of the show, but now we're going to get back to talking about Terrifier and Terrifier 2 specifically. This is what I love about that movie, is that it picks up in the exact place that first movie ended. Like, he was just like, oh yeah, this is part 2 of 1, actually. We just have more money than now we can continue this movie.
Yeah, very Halloween-esque with that, because it's literally like 1 and 2 is just one big movie. Yeah, exactly. So, and I love it. And he got a lot more kills in 2. I'm looking at the list right now. There's more kills in 2 that were much more extravagant.
Oh yeah, they go
so many.
Yeah. There's some of my, like, the ones I'm definitely appreciate the first one, the body being sawed in half, but there's definitely, you see how he likes to torture in this movie more than he likes killing, because he definitely goes. I have way more notes on Terrifier 2 because it is my absolute favorite of the franchise than Terrifier 1, because it's just like, oh my god, he goes for it. So first of all, let's talk about the poetic shots in the first opening sequence. So one of them is that they get blood on the muscle charts, which is just a funny joke, because that's where blood goes. And then the second one is that he dissects in the first couple of minutes of the movie a mortician who is a dissector. So his first kill is just like this ironic one, where a guy who usually takes people apart, he's getting taken apart in the place that he takes people apart. So I don't know why that struck me so hard, but I just laughed because that's how the movie was kicking off, and I was like, let's do it. And then of course the soundtrack kicked in too, and I was like, yeah, boy, like Terrifier 2. I'm also going to
it wasn't a surprise
at 7:30 in the morning, so that's when I was young.
Oh my,
yeah, boy. So I woke up, I was like,
everyone's waking up.
Yeah,
they come out and see a dude in a morgue getting diced and sliced.
yeah, exactly. Like, just go back to bed. Don't do this before coffee.
But by the second one, you kind of expect it, though. You kind of expect it. Like, you saw where it left. You're like, okay, you know what's about to happen, and you just don't know how it's going to happen.
Yeah, so you had some really cool, like, casual kills that I wanted to shout out in the first movie. Like the pizza guy had flames inside of his skull in the first movie. But this one is like, they're like, no, you don't just get the shot afterwards.
It was very quick shots, but that was a good shot, because he was like stabbing that dude in the head, and I'm like thinking about it realistically, because it's like the first death. I'm like, if you're a criminal, bro, you are off the walls. You didn't wipe anything down. You didn't do anything.
Yeah,
you just
the thing.
go in there.
Does not care.
Yeah.
He's not a point. Like, he's an animal. And then we find out something that's really interesting about the Terrifier also, so we can open up this kind of worm, because this is where they show us where it's at. He puts himself back together with pieces from the guy he's tearing apart. The eye he gets is from the doctor, and the brain he's missing is from the doctor. And so he's like, his power is like Frankenstein. And I don't think
I've seen that as a person's power I would say?
Before. What is it?
I would say he's more like Jeepers Creepers, because he's a demon. Right, and he did the same thing.
That's Terrifier 3, but yeah, that's what we find out. Yeah.
Well, technically, if you shoot yourself in the head and live, you're something else.
Well, no, absolutely, but it remains a mystery until Terrifier 3, which means you have to sit there another 2 hours. So
that's almost like Jeepers Creepers in that way, because you don't really know what he is, but he just put an eyeball in his head and grew, or he cut, like, remember when his head got decapitated in Jeepers Creepers 2, and he just took that kid's head, swallowed it, and it regrew a head. That's what I think. Kind of.
You're calling it out. Yeah, this is the tribute that he's making. Like, he is doing all the genres. It's so funny. Like, because he's like,
when you dissect it.
Oh, that's definitely where he got it from. I mean, because of course you watch that as well. So it's really cool. Now we're gonna get into one of my favorite moments, and actually I have a video clip I'm excited to share with you. That's okay. Um,
All good.
the what happens right after he kills the doctor and takes the pieces of it is everything kind of comes to a lull, and he goes to the laundromat. And this hits on one of my other little favorite things about the clown is that he does normal everyday things. We get to see him, and this one he just strips down and takes his clothes off and puts them in the washer. But later we see him take a drink of water to catch his breath after doing some murdering, eat some cookies, make dinner. So it's just he spends a lot of time. He's he doesn't just appear to kill, you know what I mean? He's up to stuff at the same time.
He's just a human kind of. That's another empathy thing where you're like, he's like me. Because if I were to kill someone and I was in the house and they had fresh cookies, I'd probably eat a cookie. But the cookie that he ate had blood all over it. So it's he still puts it in craziness. He's still crazy, but he's doing normal while doing crazy shit.
Again, that's the level that it goes that makes it extra creepy. Is it's it becomes sort of like true crime because you're no, but he's a little bit real. And then they take this twist. He's in the laundromat. He's stripped down. He's naked. He sees this. And then this. Oh my god. This is the introduction of this main character for this episode. I mean, for this, yes. And then they stare at each other like this, and he smiles back. Oh my god! And it was at this one, this is fairly early. This is in the first 15 minutes or so. I laughed. I was so creeped out, and then at the same time delighted at the disgustingness of what was happening, and then terrified that there's a girl terrifying, a little kid terrifying. So I mean, of course, at this point it's 7:45 in the morning. I'm like, oh my god!
Well, when I seen that was just another sign. I'm like, this guy has lost his mind. If he ain't...
You know what happens is it cuts back and you see the girl's not there at all.
Yeah, so you're and he's just laughing. Yeah. And I'm like, yep. Okay, you later find out he might be talking to another dimension. But in that moment, you don't know that. That was a good scene. Yeah, I forgot about that.
We'll leave it unspoiled, but I think that's resolved in the Terrifier 3 also. That just a theory because it's not really spelled out. But yeah, no. So that's one of the things that's terrifying is that you see the Terrifier having this horrible vision of this girl, and it's the one thing he doesn't kill, but it's as gross as he is and as terrifying as he is. And then you find out that he is just disassociating in the laundromat, and you're like, oh yeah, that could be me. I could be disassociating in the laundromat, and you're like, no, I have nothing to do with this character. So again, the director writer is just he walks this very nice line between these two things, and it's not accidental because he keeps doing it. So that's why I was with Terrifier 2, I was this, we're in good hands, right? The person who's doing commentary on 80s slasher movies knows what he's talking about.
That actually reminds me because I'm not too fresh on Terrifier 2, but I'm slowly remembering a lot of the scenes. I'm much more fresh on 3. But there is a scene in 2 that is just like 3, which we'll get to. But when he's in that laundromat with the little kid, he the dude had a mop head in his head.
Yes, no, that's it. So, and that's just what I was going to call out. I'm glad you remembered. It's in Terrifier 2. And so the dude is sleeping in the chair, and then he wakes up to look at the clown, and that's where we get the perspective that there is no girl clown, and nothing happens between the two of them. The Terrifier just walks out, and you see that the mop handle has been stuck from the top of his head through his mouth. You can see it in his mouth, and the spike is resting on his chest. It's amazing special effects, and it's nothing more than, it's the same thing with the pizza guy with the flame in his eyes. It's nothing more than this, it cuts to the Terrifier walking out, and the dude looks like that, and that's just the way that it is. There's no it's fantastic. You did the work, you put in the work, and it paid off.
with little explanation, very quick.
Well, you don't need it.
Oh, yep.
That's what Terrifier is doing. You know, like he disassociates and he's wearing a brand new costume, so he's off to killing again. That's what he's going to do. Like what you wouldn't expect anything else. And then we meet Sienna, who is the final girl. And her little brother, which is the introduction to Terrifier 2. And this is like, so it's interesting how Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 are like, you know, at part A and part B, but then the Sienna storyline is like part A here and then part B in Terrifier 3. Like, because they introduced her here and the storyline like picks up there. And I don't even think it's the end of the story. I mean, obviously it isn't because we'll spoil it at the end. The initial thing that bothered me. Sorry.
I don't know if he had a plan. I don't know if he had a plan for that. I don't know if any of this was planned or he just got dumb luck and just kept going.
It is. Yeah, like he definitely left some things open so he could, and then he went and explored those. But yeah, what do you think that is?
Yeah, which is, well, I don't know. I think it's probably just he didn't know if it was going to hit. I don't think he really knew if. Right, I think I've seen some interviews where he just, well, I made this story. I left someone alive. Let's give her a family, give her a little brother, and parents, or I don't even think she has parents. Well, I think it's her uncle and aunt.
Girl, well, that's second to third, but the girl who survives in episode 1 to episode, or part 1 to part 2, is the faceless woman. So she's the final girl because that's the sister of the girl that I thought looked like Neve Campbell, and then we find out that she's a murderer, and then they introduce Sienna as like this new final girl. So I thought at first it was interesting that they killed off and maimed the 2 people who could have saved the day in the first one. That was a really interesting way to approach a slasher film. And then they do like introduce this girl, and I wasn't sure if she was going to get killed, and then we'll get to it, but the way that they opt out of doing both is really interesting. But the first thing that bothered me is that they never really talk about how old she is, but she's living with her mom and she has this little brother and she seems to be going to school, but she's obviously almost 30.
I would assume she's a college student by her looks.
Maybe so.
Mid-20s, you know, something like that. Yeah, because she's sexy and she looks young. She don't look like she's a mom, but she looks like an older woman.
For sure. But then her mom's still bossing her around. So that's why, like, it feels like she's a kid and she's still, like, making food for them and everything. So, like...
Well, that just shows about, like, the lifestyle nowadays, because a lot of people don't leave home for a while. So sometimes... make food for your little brother and have to hear your mom bitch about getting a career. They don't really dive into that, though. They could have. They don't really talk about that. Ever. Yeah, no, I think they end up dying before you get to see anything like that.
It's not really clear because I kept trying to figure out if I could figure out what the answer was, but I never really got a clear answer, and it wasn't important in the end. I don't think that he missed something by not telling us what school she was in and what her grades were and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like they did that more in the third because they had a lot more to work with, I think. The second, they wanted to do this first, but better. And then the third, they showed the brother in college. And we'll talk about it in a second, but they did more set scenes.
They definitely, you can tell that budget is all over that movie because they're at places, they've got vehicles, there's like everything's well lit, like all this stuff that costs money, 100%. The sound is good.
But a lot of the kills in the second are like there's a lot of mutilation. I'm looking at the list. This guy gets stabbed in his eye with a beer bottle, and that's cool. And then gets decapitated with a meat cleaver.
Yeah.
Next one gets
his head is used on display.
Yeah, which is cool. And then the other person gets scalped with scissors and then stabbed to death. And then the next gets decapitated, and then the next gets shot with a shotgun. I can kind of count that as decapitation.
Yeah, that's the mom. It's funny because it's a sawed-off shotgun that comes out of nowhere. Somebody has eggs and toilet paper in her car. And then she like cleans it off, and it's Art sitting in the front seat with a sawed-off shotgun, and he's just smiling. He just pulls the trigger and blasts the head off.
I don't remember this death, but I want to rewatch it just to see this because I don't remember it at all. It says this guy got stabbed 9 times in the groin and then got his ripped off.
Oh yeah,
and I don't remember that at all.
There
But that
is
sounds.
just towards the end of the movie, the dude's out taking a and you're like, oh, you have to check out a horror movie, it's coming off, and he does, and then of course, you know, the whole movie is really graphic. So,
Oh yeah,
a fun time.
man. It's a great movie. That's the second just added to it. I feel like they did more of the same. But
well, let me ask you.
Obviously, first one was great too.
As a general question, what do you think about the like special girl backstory that was introduced in the second movie and then carries on into the third movie? That she has a destiny that was chosen before she was born. That her father.
That was also very odd. And they did like he was an art guy and he wrote comic books. And I'm like, it feels a little forced without enough to it, without enough context.
That was why I was wondering if there was a backstory movie that had explained that previously, and that's where they were going that angle. Yeah, no, okay, no. So yeah, it just, and they do spend a lot of time on it. Like there's a whole like dream where she's inducted. There's the wings that she's building, the armor that burns. There's the sword that she's armed with. Now that he eventually takes control of, and then is a thing that like decapitates him at the end.
Totally out of context and not fitting the movie, but you just kind of accept it. Right. Like kills Art with a magic and Skyrim sword, and it's fine. Right? Yeah, exactly. I don't care, but it's totally cheesy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But,
so again, and then that does carry over into 3. Like so she has this destiny that they have to have her live up to. So like the franchise, it's an interesting thing that's taken that direction.
Well, also, this
is the one sorry. This is Terrifier 2 is the one where they introduced the concept of dream warriors, right? The same thing, which is a Freddy concept.
Yep. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Same. Like, again, I know that it's a trope of the 80s, and so it's totally appropriate. But at the same time, I'm like, that's like every fantasy genre has that, and it just it's weird.
They didn't do it terribly, but it was very random in my opinion for the franchise. But it can work if you do it right. Especially like the third one had a bigger budget. They could do better. They could do it better. But now with the fourth one being a bigger budget, now we can maybe see something that's really fleshed out, and not just like kind of a rushed scenario to start off the premise. Basically, that's what it was. It was just a hint at something.
Yeah, it would be nice if they covered the father and how the father is connected to the original clown killer or whatever that is, and how he knows this stuff. Because I think
what if he killed him? Story.
Ooh,
what if he killed him? What if he like sentenced him to hell? Yeah, yeah, like exactly. That would be really cool. And he's the only one we haven't seen. Everybody else is dead, so it's like it's her and her dad.
Well, yeah,
they could do something with that.
Again, shows up.
Do some flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. They've done some in 3 where they kind of like call to his ears, but the first time they do it's like, who's this guy? We've never seen this guy before. Why am I supposed to trust him? I don't trust anybody in this room.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because the first thing that we've seen before we saw that is her going to the Clown Cafe, where you of course remember the Clown Cafe, right? Where they have a whole theme song and everybody's singing. The adults are acting like crazy kids. This is what you're talking about, where he's gives them candy and stuff, and he's acting all nice, but it ends up with him like spraying down the whole place with a Tommy gun.
Wasn't there a monkey or something, or am I thinking of a different movie? I remember. Like there were it's like a TV show, and he's just like
the dream is on a TV set. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very out of pocket, but I mean, it works though.
Well, it's like again, he's going this series of movies are off the rails. You're never gonna see what you think you're gonna see because he's gonna constantly do it. Like again, Tommy gun, Tommy gun in the Clown Cafe.
He just went 1920s gangster, and he's been laughing and he don't make any noise, so he's just
So also that brings up one of the moments I love about this scene here too is that he's trying to give the final girl a present, Sienna, and she won't take it, but he like mimes that she has to take it, and so she ends up taking it. And it's one of these creepy things because he can't speak. His miming is
all
just,
body language.
Yeah, but
it's all
so
body language.
Diabolical. Actually, I want to cut over real quick and show you the shot because it's just what's in the box moment where it's just like it just builds and builds and builds as she's like slowly unwrapping the present, and he's like laughing and like dancing around, and just like it's one of these moments where like nothing is really happening, but because like we know that something bad, it cuts over to this, which is a heart in a box. And it has maggots and worms crawling around it.
Yeah, it's just like super gross.
So like, yeah, the prop. So one thing I wanted to point out, I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but there's bubbles. Do you see them on the surface?
Yeah.
So that's resin, which means that they dipped an actual heart in resin. They painted an actual heart and dipped it in resin. So that's an actual probably animal's heart, like maybe a moose or something like that. It's huge.
And yeah, they had to make what they had to do, so, like what they had.
Again, the budget, right? Like he's like, let's do some special effects, and there's earthworms in there, of course. But that's one of them.
And it's just disgusting, and she's just looking at it like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. It like finally builds up and then cuts to that moment. You're like, oh God, why? I was not expecting to see that right now. Like, even though the whole movie is gross. And then, of course, he hijacks another trope in the clown scene, which is the jigsaw trike. This is the first time we see him ride the trike in a circle. Oh wait, maybe not. Maybe it's a callback to when he was doing it in the warehouse in Terrifier.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can't name a favorite scene from Terrifier 2. Like they're all about equal. They all
well, it's all like like the same movie. Let me show you my favorite shot. Can I show you my favorite shot?
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is it. There's a homeless guy that's next to a nun, and it's absolutely my favorite shot in the movie because of his expression. Which they just got this one dude, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna pay you $20." And they're like, "What?" And then like he's like, "Play a homeless guy." He's like, "Mother, I'll show up in your movie." Just love it. Anyways,
I'd agree to it.
Yeah, exactly. I had to do it.
Like, I'm down.
Of course, then that's when her wings burn, and there's a whole metaphor of like, she's an angel that's under trial.
Lost her wings, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so again, this is where I'm saying like he's not a slouch when he's a writer. Like the symbology, or the symbolism there is it's there. Like it's like rampant. He's like showing it as a visual metaphor. And doing the intention.
Am I wrong that in Terrifier 2, it was either 2 or 3 where like it's hinted at that she might pass on to be the next, like, take over the reins? I can't remember if that was in 2 or 3, or I'm just making something up.
3 has a really interesting supposition along that line, because that's when they start discovering what the demons and the demon powers are and stuff like that. Yeah, and I definitely want to get into that because that reveals what the like faceless woman's deal is, and that, again, I love that he finally had that payoff.
Yep, definitely. But I mean, her story would be a really crazy plot twist if she like became his herald to get her brother back. But to get her brother back to this dimension, she has to be his herald, like be with him, and then she gets deformed, turns into a demon too.
That's
like gets crazy power.
And it wouldn't be beyond the scope of the movie, because I mean he killed the final girl in the first one. What is it if he's just leading us on for this one?
Yeah. Like he's gonna do something unexpected.
Yeah.
Like it defy expectations is the goal of a horror director.
Especially surprise. Because he knows all the tropes. So maybe he's leading stuff like, oh yeah, she's gonna win, and then actually the way that she wins is become that monster. It's a possibility. Can you imagine if he's watching all these podcasts and all the reviews, and he's just like, you don't know, I'm about to do. You think that? Nope. It might be that he's like, well, we'll see what happens when the money comes in. I mean, if somebody pays me to write that story, I'm gonna write a story. But right now it's all supposition. Just raking, Terrifier 3 money. One of the things that
next one I think comes out next year.
Really? I would be excited to see it. Yeah. But he makes all the moms and adult female figures like super bitchy, and like they're all so mean.
It's like this is personal, isn't it? This is a little personal.
That's exactly. That's why I'm like, you don't like women so much. I'm gonna spoil it because it doesn't really spoil anything. But in the third movie, he has a wife say to a husband, "You were right, honey," even though we know that he is not right. And so then you're like, oh, this is a fantasy movie. Yeah, I knew it. It's just an a male fantasy. He's living out his dreams right now.
He's just putting what he wants on screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Damn it, dude.
But that's also like 80s cringe too. Like he could just be like, I want to bring some of the 80s back. Let's do this cringy dialogue again, just for fun.
For fun. He's like, John Waters got to do it. I can do it. But I was thinking that maybe he actually wrote those characters as like male characters initially and then recast them as female characters. And so things that like a dad who had his wife die could get away with, like a mom can't. So I don't know. I would like to hear what his take on that was, to ultimately know, what he meant by those things.
I think
it does seem personal.
I think anybody can be a orc. Like that's just a character trope,
right?
Like an archetype, like an asshole dad. Maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he has an asshole dad, and he didn't want to see another asshole dad be gravitas on the screen. He's like, let's let the mom be a bitch. My mom was nice. I want to see something different.
Maybe so. Yeah. Some of the dialogue from the mom is what the you are so stupid. And I was like, oh my God. Like I could have put up with her if she had slapped her kid, but for some reason, like destroying her verbally was like the end. And I was like, I can't. Somebody kill this.
Do you think that's also the motive? Is that like horror directors want to make a character dislikable, so when they die, you also kind of get like, hey, they deserve it.
When her head got shot off with a shotgun, I was stoked.
I was finally, bro. Damn.
So hard because I was like, nah, you're like just so mean. Like y'all need to be the
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, why can't you believe me? And then the dialogue is because. Like, so mean. Like, there's no reason. Your daughter who's in college cannot be trusted.
Why don't you believe me? Because. Like he didn't add another line. You're stupid.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
You're delusional.
The original
he could have put in any line.
Yeah, but they're like, that's going a little far, don't you think?
You're like, let's just put because and
just because we're gonna leave it at that. Oh my God. They do have another little bit in this, like right after that sequence where there's a dead possum at school. And one of the things that we can skip most of the interaction because it's not great. It doesn't really add anything. But the kid sees them eating the possum in the hallway and playing with the dead possum in the hallway. And again,
that was a little didn't really give a fuck about that scene.
But they're just so
like
creepy.
It was. I think it depends on
being sick.
I think it depends on your level of animal love. Like if you love animals, that's gonna hit you hard. I love animals, but I don't. My girlfriend.
It wasn't the dead animal itself. It was the fact that they were laughing while they're chewing through the rotting guts of a possum.
Yeah,
that was
just like playing with it.
So sickening and visceral, and then giggling, like they're both silently giggling. It's what makes Terrifier super creepy to me. For me, the actual accidental comedy in movies is really where it's at. And Terrifier does that. Like it's like they play it straight, so it doesn't seem as terrifying, but it is definitely.
There's some underlining feeling. You got two kids playing with a possum, and that's just what you got to deal with.
Right? Yeah, that's what the content of this movie is. So Curtis, there is one thing that we actually do need to talk about a lot, or actually it's really important. I think it's really important to understand the whole entire franchise, the amount of time and effort and money that was spent on one particular The shot that I'm talking about, and you're probably familiar with because you kind of referenced it earlier, was where the Terrifier is just being like a funny clown, and he's doing it in public, and he's not hiding. And it's this weird stalking behavior that he has that he's just like pretending that he's a nice guy. And so the part I'm talking about is in the costume shop where she's buying those new wings, and he's trying on glasses, and he's making all these funny faces. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was really like ominous, but like just normal, kind of like what you'd expect a clown to do. But that ain't the one I think of the public thing though. I think of the Santa.
You might misunderstand real quick because that was just the setup. The shot that I'm talking about that is actually iconic to the entire series and understanding what it is. Because you can, in this one shot, you can see that there's careful consideration with the casting process, the wardrobe, the lighting, and with principal photography, which means that had to go through the storyboarding process as well. I'm going to pull it up for you so you can just recognize how important this shot is. Not that one, this one. So, okay. The reverse of this shot is the dude playing with clowns, but you can tell that this shot was deliberately set up to get her ass like shot because look at the little ghoul to the left hand side of the screen right here. She's like definitely like looking like ding. And then also look at the lighting. So first of all, like we know,
and he does the eyes too. He's like, hey,
doing the eyes. Look at the lighting. There's some blue light that's hitting right here, and a shadow that's definitely like highlighting her cleavage. And then also you can tell there's a bright light coming directly from like where her ass is, so it glows and highlights like the surface of it. So
well, that's a whole nother trope of horror is that sex appeal.
Yeah, all of this, which is like I was just like, oh my god, you didn't, because what he's doing is really funny because he's making us look at her like bait, like because we're like, oh,
like he is,
and then
like,
he's doing that, yeah. So he turned us into the Terrifier in this shot, and that's what I was getting into. Like Damien like intentionally crafted this moment around her ass so that we are like experiencing the movie with the dude.
He's like, I understand. Like you get the empathy thing, but now we put it into another vein of sexuality, which we've never got from Terrifier, being attracted to someone.
About him, yeah, is that he isn't really sexually attracted to them, and that's
he just wants to murder them. He's like, I wonder what the inside of your ass looks like.
He wants to scare them. He wants them to die in the most painful way possible, and that's what's scary about him is he doesn't have a motivation that's understandable by most humans, or like the non-psychotic ones.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
that was a great scene too. That is just a funny scene where it just comes out of nowhere, and you can see the fear in her eye, and the quick cuts too, where he has the shades with the sun. The sunflowers, the quick cuts, like, oh, he's putting them on, goes to her, and she's like turning around slowly, and then it does a quick cut, and he's just sitting there. It's creepy. It's creepy, dude. Yeah.
It's what he did in the first
Very well
movie,
done.
But like it definitely is like, yeah, leveled up. Yeah, it's well done. And this is one that you were talking about. The guy gets the glass bottle in the eye, and then I have to congratulate the special effects because the guy's other eye, the rest of his face is still moving. So the way that they stitch the two shots together is superb. And then of course he uses him as a display later. It's so sick. One of the kills that comes up where you realize that he is not just a killer, but he is a terrorizer is the next kill that comes up in this movie. So first of all, it's a teenage friend, this little like wink, like twig of a thing. But you see that she has gray in her hair, so you know she's like I don't know, in her 30s at least, year-old actress. So there's that. But,
you ever think we're sick in the head?
We're discussing this movie? I mean, it's a masterful art piece. This is what I'm trying to convey with this podcast, is that, like, as much as most of horror is schlock, this one, like, he's doing it on purpose, and so you have to at least respect that.
Yeah, I'm just fucking around.
But no, like, here's the thing is, like, I like congratulate the director for what he does in this, is because this is the one where he tears the girl apart and then brings in salt and vinegar and pours it on her. Yeah. Like, and so it's just like, you're like, oh my God. And then he's silently laughing as she's screaming. and you're like, oh my god.
And it's something to do with the cinematography too. Those quick cuts, like I was saying, really add to it. When you're seeing it goes from screaming to that dude just laughing silently like a silent film clown.
Yeah.
Going back, that's really awesome.
And then he leaves her there in her room, gets her mom's attention, so her mom comes and finds her in that condition and finds her alive before he kills her. So again,
Yep,
this like my argument is like Terrifier 3 is fantastic because all these pieces like add up to it. Like they just continue to pay off in that movie because he does things like this where he's like, oh yeah, no, Art
it's
the
a
Clown,
snowball.
yeah,
it's a snowball effect.
They're just one movie as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And
I just don't remember all of 2. This one I don't remember where it says the lady got her face melted with hydrochloric acid and stabbed with a nailed club.
Yeah.
That I gotta rewatch 2 because I don't remember shit from fucking 2.
I'm telling you, man, like it is a fantastic film. I'm pretty sure that the reason that you love 3 is because you have in your memory hole.
I watched 2.
Yeah.
I watched 2, and then
like again, it's a continuing story, and it's worth it. There was one thing that I wanted to comment before, and we're almost just going to skip down to the end of Terrifier 2 because we've talked about most of the other things I want to talk about. But so we finally get a shower scene in the middle of 2, after we find out that she's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so you're like, but then also, I like that he put it exactly where he did. Even though I'm like, in an '80s movie, you put the titties on early so that people stick around. That's just what you do out of respect for your audience.
You said you're gonna wait.
Well, no, so he did it there though. It actually makes sense as far as the story is going because she's preparing herself to go out into the night and take on the beast. And so she not only like gets herself clean, but then dresses in the angel warrior costume. Afterwards.
So you need that montage. Show some titties.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, so he serves 2 purposes. He shows the titties like we've been asking for the entire movie, and then also he does the thing that's symbolic as a warrior preparing themselves. And stuff.
Yeah, it's like Arnold in Commando putting on all the gear, but instead it's for a horror. That's also where it's not very horror-like because that is very not. You don't see that often to where someone's like getting ready, suiting up. I'm about to go take on this fucking. The most you see is like Evil Dead. They go to the shed and grab a chainsaw. And it's groovy. That's you don't get a whole montage where you're plating up and you're a warrior. Right. So it was out of place, but really cool and unique. He's like, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be different, but I'm gonna be the same but different. I'm gonna take all of this. You're gonna recognize all of it, but it's not gonna make sense.
Again, boom. Totally appreciate about what he did. Because he takes everything that we recognize, rebuilds it into a different shape, and gives us what we want. That's how you should do a new movie.
Everything thrown against the wall, so there's more to it. You're not just recreating nostalgia. You're inventing a new idea of nostalgia. Like you've never seen all of this together. You've only seen it in bits. Yeah. Now we're gonna have a whole movie of it all.
That's what I definitely love. Like that's what he's doing is actually not just repackaging but remaking something so that we have something new. And I definitely appreciate that about it. There's some at the end of 2, and this is probably why you don't remember it quite as good. Is there's a lot of like vague that happens that he kind of pads the end of 2 with, which is unfortunate. Like they go to a party and they get on Molly and then they start running around an amusement park, an abandoned amusement park, and it goes on for a little while. So it's like there's no killing that happens. It's like promises killing, and then there's a lot of not killing at this point.
It's basically the end of the battle scene, like fighting the end boss, basically. Like, but maybe they drawn it on too long. I don't recall. Yeah. I kind of after you said that, I remember a little bit, but it's not that memorable.
No, and that's
like the end of the first one. I remember the first one, the whole ending.
Yeah.
But second one, I don't remember the ending like that. I just remember what you just said, the carnival clown amusement park setting. And I think it was like her rescuing her brother or something.
Yeah, exactly. But the girl's actually doing his voice to like lure him in. And again, like it's just so one of my qualms with this this series in general is that the only reason that the heroes survive is because Art's playing with them. He like if he wanted the kid dead, he would be dead. If he wanted Sienna dead, he would be dead, or she would be dead. So like.
It's a mental torture because you go into the third one and she's got PTSD. So he's like, I'm really getting to you. You can't kill me.
Interesting. I didn't consider that angle. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So,
like after a point, you get pissed. You'd be like, why don't you die?
And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's an interesting point. We'll get to that when we get to the end of 3, which we're definitely going to do. Yeah, he just keeps toying with her. There's this whole like stuff that goes on. The special girl backstory pays off where she dies in a tank of water, then comes back to the dead, from the dead, which like kind of I thought was also it was poetic, but also went on for way too long. But it puts them on equal footing because we know that Art's died before too. So now the girl who's opposing him has died and come back, and he's died and come back. So I was like, okay, cool. I
think
they're
see
on
like equal playing ground.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this is taking a long time to get there. What it felt like to me is they, along the line, they got extra money, and so they wrote extra scenes and they put them in the movie. So I think that's kind of what happens. That's the feeling in the film.
He just had a pipe dream. He just wanted to insert. He's like, you know what? I've never did a movie in an amusement park. I've never, because didn't they go in like the glass house and shit? Like they did all the tropes, if I believe right.
They did.
So they definitely had fun with it, directing it. It was a better film than the first, so I can't knock them.
No, yeah, and this again, it's a minor complaint. Like I love all the killing that's happened, and then some interesting things happen. Like after all that drag happens, it's definitely worth getting through because Art actually bares his neck to her when she's cutting his head off. Again, it's the same suicide thing from the beginning. He doesn't care. Yeah, do it, kill me. Like like my pain adds to my joy. Like so it's just like he's taking notes from the Hellraiser series. Right, which is also a really popular franchise. It's all about how pain is pleasure.
Very masochistic, or not even. Is that what a masochist is?
Yeah, like they enjoy taking pain.
Yeah, and which I feel like Hellraiser does it better because they talk about it.
Yeah.
Where here we have to analyze it, and we're like, obviously, dude likes dying. He just shot himself in the head, and now he's pressing this sword into his neck. So
right.
But then it's just playing with him though. It's just putting it out there that like just do it. And like he knows that like she thinks this is the end. She thinks I did it. He got shot last time. I'm just gonna take off his head this time. This should work. This should do it. I've seen zombie films. Okay.
And it was good. So the one hand I was like, no man, it's a Terrifier film. Like don't let the girl win. Like the Terrifier has to win. And then at the same time I was like, okay, we know that he's setting up for another franchise. We know he's coming back. And then of course the end credit scene is the faceless woman birthing his head in herself. So it goes to this level where you're like, what is this thing? Who is the Terrifier? Yeah. So of course, Terrifier 3 like is just the sequel to the previous 2 movies. I mean, it's just the extension of it.
Yeah, he's just keep on keeping on. Like he's not changing the formula at all in 6 years. He's just keeping it the same, just getting a bigger budget to do more crazy shit.
Guys, you've been listening to Flicking with Skip. This is a Cox and Space podcast here with my co-host Curtis Wolf. And we talk about all sorts of exciting things on this show, movies. We're going to talk about Weapons next week. Hopefully you get a chance to see it. And how do you feel about Cronenberg?
He is a legend. Videodrome is insane. I remember watching that my first time, and he got like a Glock that came out of his hand.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, what is this movie?
Yeah, exactly. They're like trippy sci-fi, like body horror, existential horror. But yeah, you want to watch a couple of Cronenberg movies and talk about which ones you saw? Fly is a good one.
His best movie for me is The Fly.
Yeah,
The Fly is my favorite.
I think that's why I brought
a real trippy one.
Yeah, you'd mentioned it as far as like great horror of its time period. So yeah, Cronenberg movie. But yeah, We're going to be meeting again on Friday next. We're going to go some more animation and talk movies. So, guys, if you want to join us, you can do that. Go to cockspace.com so you can vote on your favorite episode. Vote on this episode because this was a fun episode. But we're going to sign off for tonight. And Curtis, thank you for being here, man. Any socials you want to shout out before we close?
Just hit up my TikTok. It's wolf_productions.98. Has everything that I post. So.
And that's a good time. You get to see all of his stand-up as it develops. So fun time. Guys, you can always check us out at our website. You can check us out on YouTube. Thank you for listening through this with us, and see you soon. Bye.